Welcome back to my YouTube channel Unfog with Dr. Atahar Parveen. So let us continue with the smart studying tips for teacher recruitment exams like GPSTR, HSTR, TET and CRISE. See, this video is going to be a very interesting video because I am going to give you the concept of previous year question mapping. So this is a new phrase which we have made for you in order to explain you how to utilize the previous year questions. Okay, see, you are starting with previous year questions, you think. Then you have to use those previous year questions in a smarter way. Just not solving them, you have to analyze those previous year questions. For example, if you are trying to solve one previous year question, then you have to first solve that question. You have to identify the chapter that particular question belongs to, and then you should ask yourself or you should guess yourself what other type of questions could come from that particular chapter. So basically you have to do previous year question mapping. I will explain you all this term previous year question mapping in a clear manner in this video. So you should watch this video till the end in order to understand what we are trying to explain you. This is going to be the best smart study tip to prepare for your exam. This way you will not get bored also. This way you will not waste time also. This way you will keep yourself busy and you will spend time in preparing. You will not get distracted also. Okay. See, I will explain it to you with example. See, this is sort of a mind map, right? You know what is a mind map, right? See here, for example, I have a plant. Now, the center of my mind map is this plant. I am creating the entire story with this center. See, plant, it is having roots. Plant, it is having flowers. Plant, it is having leaves. Right? The work of the roots is to find water from the land. It will also give the strength to entire plant and it will also supply the water to the entire plant. Not only roots, even leaves, they need water. This plant in the entire also needs sunlight. Leaves are green, right? So this is the story of a plant which we could understand with this mind map. We just had plant initially. We created this entire map with few details related to this plant. The same idea you should apply for your previous year question. Take one previous year question, identify the chapter to which this question belongs to. Then you have to, of course, solve it also. Then you have to analyze the pattern of that question. Then also you have to check which are the repeated topics coming from that particular chapter. If you have already read that chapter, then you can predict new questions also. We would advise you to follow this PYQ mapping method only after you have finished one particular syllabus. Okay, see, for example, you have completed biology, you think. At least roughly, if you have completed the biology portion, then you can easily follow this PYQ mapping method. Because if you are very new to particular subject, I am talking about biology here because we are going to use the previous year questions of GPSTR biology in this class in order to explain you all. Okay. So if you are new, then you will not be able to first of all identify the chapter. You will not be able to check the repeated topics. You will not be able to predict the new questions. You get my point, right? So you need to be at least little bit having knowledge about that particular subject. If you have at least read it roughly, then only you will be able to follow the tip which we are telling you. Okay. Many aspirants come to us and they tell that, madam, I am bored of reading the same chapters. I am bored of reading the syllabus because notification is not coming still. So this is the best way for such aspirants to get busy with preparation. Once you are done with your portion, you can do this as a revision, because this is a high time for you to start your revision also. As we already told you, we can expect our exams in next 3 to 4 months, which are enough for our revision. Okay. So now let's get into more examples. See this question. It is from GPSTR 2017 question paper. Let us first read the question. Okay. Read the following statements. Carbon monoxide is a greenhouse gas. CFC causes ozone depletion. Sulfur dioxide release can cause acid rain. Of these, the correct statement/statements are 4 options are given. So what you have to do now? First, try to understand the keywords. What is greenhouse gas? Examples for it are carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, water vapor, which is occurring naturally, and fluorinated gases, which are synthetically produced from our industries and laboratories. So these gases are greenhouse gases, and they trap heat in Earth's atmosphere. This causes our planets to get warm. Next are CFC. What is the CFCs? CFCs are chlorofluorocarbons. They actually damage the ozone layer, and that's why they are banned also. Earlier, the ACs and fridges, they used to release this chlorofluorocarbons. But nowadays, the modern fridges and modern ACs, they are not releasing chlorofluorocarbons. They are releasing HFCs, hydrofluorocarbons, which are safe for ozone layer, but still they contribute to global warming. That cannot be avoided. Okay. Then acid rain is resulting only when the sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides are emitted into atmosphere, and they get transported by wind and air currents. So these are the 3 points you should learn by seeing this question. Okay. Then option B will be the correct answer here, because after knowing these 3 options, we understood that carbon monoxide is not a greenhouse gas. Right? Carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, water vapor, and fluorinated gases. These are greenhouse gases, right? So carbon monoxide is not a greenhouse gas. So that is out from the options. Other 2 options are correct options as we read just now. So that's why option B will be the correct answer here. So now you ultimately reached to solving this question. Also, you know more about greenhouse gases, chlorofluorocarbons, and acid rains now, right? Also find out that this question is from the chapter Our Environment. See, actually this is a very general type of question. This can also fall into ecology also. Okay. So now what you have to do, you have to go to this chapter, maybe from NCERT book, or if you are our paid class student, then go for that particular chapter, watch classes, read notes, and practice the worksheets which we have given to you. Okay. So this is one way of preparing using the previous year questions. Let me give you another example. This is also a question from 2017 GPSTR question paper. The question is, synthesis of ATP in plants occur in. Options are nucleus and ribosome, chloroplast and mitochondria, mitochondria and nucleus, ribosome and lysosome. So what you have to understand here first, what is ATP? Adenosine triphosphate. It's an enzyme. It's actually the energy currency of the cell. It provides energy for various type of biochemical processes. Both in plants also it is there, and in animals also. And what is the actual story of ATP? Means it is synthesized in mainly 2 organelles in plant cells. One is chloroplast and another organelle is mitochondria. In chloroplast, actually this is a photosynthesis site. Here only ATP is first synthesized. During this process of photosynthesis, we actually call it as light reactions. And this process wherein the ATP is synthesized is called photophosphorylation. Another organelle, mitochondria. We also call it as a powerhouse of the cell. ATP is produced in mitochondria during cellular respiration. The process of production of ATP is known as an oxidative phosphorylation. Both in plants and animals, mitochondria is present because of the production of ATP. It is called as powerhouse of the cell. Okay. So now coming back to our question, synthesis of ATP in plants occur in chloroplast and mitochondria. The chapter name to which this question belongs to should be life processes in plants. Now what you have to do? You have to go to this chapter and see what all important keywords are there, what all important topics are there for preparation. If you don't understand in the textbook, what you can do is just to go to your syllabus. If you are a TET aspirant, go for TET syllabus. If you are a GPSTR aspirant, go for GPSTR syllabus. If you are a HSTR aspirant, go for HSTR syllabus. In that particular chapter name, life processes in plants, there will be the syllabus given. So those topics in the syllabus will play the keywords for you. You can go and read for that particular topic what all important points are there. Okay. It depends upon which exam you are preparing for. If you are preparing for TET means don't go in deep. Now don't say that madam in Karnataka TET new syllabus has come. See, if you are a aspirant who has already enrolled in our TET course, then you better go to the question bank which we have given you. Okay, that covers all the new syllabus multiple choice questions. So you can directly go there and you search the chapter name and then you learn all the multiple choice questions. That is one option. Or else you watch all our classes and follow our other worksheets. In those worksheets also we have given many important multiple choice questions which are different from this question bank. Okay. If you are preparing for GPSTR means, then also don't go in much deeper, but there you should also prepare for descriptive type, right? So that's why get little more information. But if you are preparing for HSTR and CRISE, then you have to just dive into those topics. Okay, clear, right? Now coming back to this question, we have left many more keywords which we have to read now, right? So we have seen about chloroplast and mitochondria. What are the other options? That also we have to see, and also we should know little bit more details about ATP also, right? So we can know what are the functions of ATP. ATP is actually playing the role of giving power to muscle contraction, and it is also helping in cell movement. It is giving active transportation across membranes. That's why it is called as energy currency of the cell, right? It is supporting synthesis of macromolecules. In fact, it is acting like a molecular switch for many reactions. Okay, you can also go for more details related to ATP. Because of lack of time, I'm not going into details here. I'm just giving you idea about how to prepare. Okay. Then go for other options. What are other options in the question? Nucleus and ribosome are there. Mitochondria and nucleus are there. Ribosome and lysosome are there. Coming to first one, nucleus and ribosome. Here nucleus controls cell activities and it is the one where DNA is present. Whereas ribosomes, they make proteins, not ATP. ATP is made in mitochondria. Okay, but not in nucleus or ribosome, right? But then what are ribosomes and lysosomes? What is happening there? Ribosomes are making proteins and lysosomes are breaking down the waste. Another important point, when you read about lysosome, you should be knowing that they are oftenly called as suicide bags of a cell because they are containing powerful digestive enzymes which can break down the cellular components including the cell itself. Okay, so they are also known as suicide bags of the cell. So these are the important points which you can learn while you find this question. Okay, let us see another example. Identify the correct statement. All chordates are vertebrates, all vertebrates are chordates, all protochordates are without notochord, all vertebrates are not coelomates. So here you should know what are chordates. They are actually animals which are having notochord, means they are having a rod like flexible structure. They are having dorsal nerve cord, they have pharyngeal slits, and they also have a post-anal tail at some stage in their life. Then what are vertebrates? You should know that also, right? Vertebrates are a subgroup of chordates that have backbone, that is vertebral column. Going more into details, chordates are having three groups: urochordates, cephalochordates and vertebrates. These urochordates and cephalochordates, they are together known as protochordates. Whereas in vertebrates, we told that there is a vertebral column, right? Actually, the notochord which is present in chordates, no, that is replaced by vertebral column here in vertebrates. Usually we call it as a backbone also. Whereas in protochordates, vertebral column is absent. They may have a notochord at some stage of life, that is a different thing, but vertebral column is absent. Now what are the examples of vertebrates? Fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds and mammals, right? Actually they have notochord at some stage in their life, right? Which later becomes vertebral column. So we can say that vertebrates are chordates. But all chordates are not vertebrates. So remember, all vertebrates are chordates. All chordates are not vertebrates. So with this, the answer to our question is that all vertebrates are chordates. Now this question belongs to which chapter? It belongs to Animal Kingdom, right? So you have to go to that chapter and know all other important topics and read them, and also find out which are the keywords, which are the repeated questions, and what you can expect this time. Okay. Now let us see another important question. Now these questions which I am going to discuss from now are from 2019 GPSTR question paper. In chromosome mapping, one map unit represents, see the options, distance between one gene and the next on a chromosome, 1% crossing over between two sites on a chromosome, 1% of the length of the chromosome, 10% crossing over between two sites on a chromosome. Now with this question only you can understand that this question is from reproduction, or you can say DNA chapter, right? So this is related to linkage mapping. You can also put this question in biotechnology, in fact. Okay. A linkage map is a genetic map which is based on the frequencies of recombination. These units are called map units, and they are showing the distance between each gene. Here one map unit will be equal to 1% chance of recombination. Here you can see how homologous chromosomes are aligned, and then how chromosome crossover is happening, then recombinant chromosomes and non-recombinant chromosomes. So here the answer to question will be 1% crossing over between two sites on a chromosome is what we call one map unit in a chromosome mapping. So basically every time we can expect one question based on chromosomes. So that way you can go to topics like haploid and diploid, or reproduction, how many number of chromosomes are there, all those type of topics you can learn. Okay. Another question. This question is from reproduction in plants. The question is, the most significant feature of vegetative propagation is that, and the options are, it enables rapid production of genetic variations, it is the means of producing a large population of individuals genetically identical to the parents, it ensures that the progeny is pH safe from the attack of diseases and pests, it is an ancient practice. So basically you should be knowing about vegetative propagation. We also call it as a vegetative reproduction or vegetative multiplication, or we also call it as vegetative cloning. It is basically a asexual reproduction in plants. Here a new plant is formed from a part of a parent plant. That part can be a stem, root, leaf, or some specialized structure which is not involving seeds. Okay. So one parent plant is involved, and therefore there is no fusion of gametes, there is no genetic variation, because only one parent plant is there. Okay, that's why we call it as a asexual reproduction. Therefore offsprings are genetically identical to how the parent is. Basically they are ditto, they are clones. So the most significant feature of vegetative propagation is that It means of producing a large population of individuals genetically identical to the parents. Okay. There are some common methods of vegetative reproduction like cutting, layering, grafting and tissue culture. In cutting, just a stem is used or some leaf cuttings are used. Plants like rose and money plant can be reproduced using this method. Then in layering, a branch of a plant is bent to the ground so that the roots will grow. Best example is jasmine. In grafting, the tissues of two plants are joined together. Examples of this type of reproduction is seen in plants like mango and citrus. And then the most famous one, tissue culture. Here plants are grown in labs from new cells. Nowadays though, the famous ones are orchids and bananas. So this is how you can learn from one previous year question to the entire topic and gradually to entire chapter. So basically what we are doing is that we are tracing these previous year questions back to the concepts, then chapters, and then we are guessing the future questions also. So this is the mapping we are doing using the previous year questions. So okay friends, on this note I am giving you one question. This will be your assignment. Try to answer this question in the comment section, and we really hope that you understood the smart tip related to previous year question mapping. Okay. Thank you. All the best. Bye.